Well, you all asked for it. It's finally happened. We are saying goodbye, of course, to the owners of Swansea City. What new direction does this mean for the club? We're asking these three what they think, and are they happy about the recent news? We're also talking about refereeing standards and, of course, tying that in with that handball at Turf Moor and asking, because it's been the American election, who's the best North or South American input into Swansea City? This is, of course, the quickest and most comprehensive review of all things Swansea City on the internet. We're very grateful to have you here. And please do, before you go any further, press that subscribe button so we can let you know when our content is out every single week. Right. James, I've got to start with you this week. Who else to talk to us about the news that came through midweek last week that your owners have had enough?
Oh, and you know what? About times 8 years we've had these absolute flounderers running us into the ground. They've overseen relegation, appointed one of the worst managers that I've ever seen, and Bob Bradley. Yeah, it's about time they were shown the door. We've got people who are going to be on the ground now. We've got, instead of 30 odd investors, it's going to be about 4 or 5 people making the calls. But yeah, this might actually enable us as a club to move forward now, because we've just been stagnating for so long. We had disinterested owners who just almost feel like they're just going to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, I can't wait to see that it is finally being ratified and gone through, as the only thing they've ever done here is make things worse. I can't think of any one positive thing that they've ever done that has benefited this club. Apart from, they'll tell you, oh, we kept the lights on, but that, as an owner, is the bare minimum. The bare minimum you do is you keep the lights on. We shouldn't be praising you for doing that.
Rich, how does it feel? I know you're closely linked to the club, so you might be guarded on what you can say here, but does it feel like there's been an uplift around the club this week through this news?
Yeah, well, it's a positive decision, and I think they're going to invest a little bit of capital in, so that's always a good thing. I'm always a little bit skeptical when you get new owners of what will happen, what's promised. We haven't heard exactly yet what's going to be done, but you've got to back the board from now and see. Change is always good, as they say. But looking back to the previous owners, yes, they didn't really have the best of times and things went pretty wrong, but they kept us afloat. And you've got to say there's a lot of clubs that have gone under over the last few years, and they did just about have enough in the model to keep us afloat. So I will say that. But yeah, we're new chapter now. I think I'll just say that.
Okay. Darren says the previous owners took our spark away. The last 6 years or so, I've seen lower crowds, zero atmosphere, mostly caused by the lack of interest in the team, the club, and the fans. Please bring back the feel-good factor. Give us something to get behind. Liam says, Andy seems like he genuinely cares for this club, which is refreshing after the last decade nearly. Onwards and upwards for the Jacks. And Jake Powell at the bottom says there, I'm so bad these bastards are gone. We all look forward to seeing some owners interested in the club. Don't let us down. Hugh, are you glad the bastards have gone?
Oh, yes. I almost got a bottle of champagne out on Thursday night. I was that close. Yeah, the boys are spot on. I appreciate they've kept the lights on, but as James said, that's the minimum they could do. They've got the money to do it. That's what we expect from them. But yeah, they took us from a club that was, been in Europe. It was everybody's kind of second favourite team in the Premier League for a while and wider in Europe. Best passing stats in Europe. Everybody loved us. Cult icons. And then we went down to sort of almost getting relegated to League One. Yeah, good riddance. Please don't come back.
Okay. I was going to ask this question. James has already kind of answered it anyway. Was there any one thing? I tried to search social media for somebody heaping praise on them and couldn't find a single one. Is there any one thing you are thankful for other than paying the bills?
Leaving.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. Okay. All right. I think that sums that up, doesn't it? But yes, I mean, a club like Swansea should never be staring at an abyss, and more than one use of that word. So yes, positive going forward. Let's talk about football matters then shall we? Off to Turf Moor we went this weekend, and I got to say, every time Swansea are on telly, I actually enjoy watching you. I think you are turning into a proper little tidy team that could do something. But Rich, These referees don't like you very much, do they?
No, you're a bit of a charmer there, Mark. I see what you're doing, but no, it was a good performance, and it was just the last gasp, in it. That's the bit that gets us because we played so well for the 90 minutes, and if we had conceded prior to that, when Lawrence pulled off that sparkling save, you wouldn't have minded. You just said fair enough, but that just hurt. But they got to get given those. I'm afraid. You raise your hands. It's a penalty.
Is it a penalty for you, James?
I'm going to say no, purely because he doesn't give it until about 5 or 6 seconds after, and only when the appeals come in. Golden rule. I do grassroots football. If you are not certain, you don't give it. You don't just fold like a deck chair when all the players start clambering around you. He's guessed that he's got no clear view of it. Yes, Grimes' arm is in the air, but I'm pretty certain it comes off the Burnley player, then hits his head. And I'm not even sure it does touch his arm.
Hugh, you get the deciding vote on this.
Yeah, it's not a penalty for me. I think James is right. You can't be certain about it. He shouldn't be giving it. He had to deliberate with his linesman as well. It took too long to give it. If you're taking that long, you shouldn't be giving them. And how else is Grimes supposed to jump? You can't jump like a salmon without your arms up, can you?
The social media points were pretty much on that one. Performance was there. The result was a gutting one. Needs to handball again. Clueless in the final third. Harsh penalty. Most people thought Burnley looked as toothless. And even our Burnley fans yesterday were saying exactly that Swansea looked by far the better side for many periods of the game. Does that give you heart, Rich, that you can go toe-to-toe with a side like Burnley that obviously have got, in terms of squad depth and millions spent, are leagues apart, aren't you?
Well, one thing I thought when I was watching that game is they're not the Burnley of 2 years ago, which absolutely destroyed us up there. We lost 4-0, and I thought, well, this is a side on the up. They're going to go up with a flying up. This year's league is very close, and I don't think any team has outplayed us at all. We've lost 1-0 away at Burnley and Sheffield United, who are probably the two you think would be the top two, amongst maybe Leeds next time. We'll have to have a look. But I tell you what, I think, we coming together. We just need to get a few results more now, and we'll be in the mix.
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole, nearly half the Championship could be in the playoffs, but if results go their way. I do want to talk about refereeing standards though, because there's been some shocking decisions, James, not just in your game but across the Championship in the last couple of weeks. You've been on the wrong end of them yourselves. There's some very dodgy decisions in the Stoke Millwall game, which if you haven't seen, you need to go and watch. I don't want to be too harsh on referees because it is a difficult job, but the standard of refereeing for you as you watch it year on year, is it getting worse?
Yeah, I do think it is. I think it's been low for quite a while, but I do actually think it's almost getting concerning. There was one I saw a couple of weeks ago. I think it might have been Preston, Bristol City, where a player literally pushes the ball on with his hand, and the ref looking right at him doesn't give it. That one yesterday, again, like I said, you can clearly see second guessing it. I always go back to one of the worst ones I think I've seen was against Burnley with the Swans, was Stan Vokes handballed in the penalty area, in his own penalty area, and it was given as a penalty against the Swans. So it should have been free kick Swansea, but Anthony Taylor gave a penalty to them, and then he openly admitted afterwards he wasn't certain, and that's why he gave it. So yeah, it's been creeping in for a long time now. They're just getting a lot worse and worse, and even with VAR, they're still getting it wrong then. So I just think the standard of refereeing, it's low, but it's getting lower.
What's the solution, Hugh?
So as everyone VAR in the chat at the moment, it's nice celebrating the goal and knowing that's it. The goal's been given, It's the old adage, isn't it? People say things even out over the season as well. Obviously, you don't want a massive decision costing you promotion or relegation, for example, but yeah, I think it's a difficult one. I wouldn't say I want VAR in the Championship, but yeah, I agree with James. I think the standard refereeing has been dipping for a while now. And you look at that, is it the Stoke game on the weekend? He's literally ragged him to the floor, and the referee's staring straight at that. He's not giving anything. Shocking.
Yeah. Rich, would you bring in foreign referees, do you think?
Well, if you're good enough, why not? It's one of those things where it's debatable, sometimes decisions, and I think not everybody's going to be agreeing on things. That's why we have pundits at the end of the game. They talk things through, and even they can't get it right, But it has to be a standard of refereeing, and you have to follow the same rules in each game. That's all we want is consistency. If you can have that, well, it's no complaints at all.
Okay. All right, let us know what you think. Before we let you go this week, then, we're having a bit of fun. It's been the American election, of course, last week. So we're asking what's been the biggest, steady on here, what's been the biggest American influence on Swansea City in your history? And North American or South American will allow you to have here as well. The ChatGPT answers are just hilarious. I'll give you them in a second. We asked AI to come up with the top 3 for Swansea. You won't believe one of them. Hugh, in fact, anyone shout out here. Go on, let's get Bob out of the way, shall we? James, you're dying to say him.
Yeah, it's got to be Bob Bradley. It's a disaster class in managing the team. His biggest claim to fame is Brad Bobley on Soccer AM. Still people are getting laughs out of that now. So I think that'll be his biggest influence on British football. But yeah, those 11 games will forever be seared into my memory. But he was more likable than Michael Duff. I'll just say that.
Any others?
Well, South American has been a couple, isn't there? He got Jefferson Montero was fantastic.
Yeah,
he was brilliant. Could run past anybody. Couldn't really cross that great, but he was superb going forward. And but he did spend a lot of time injured. And it was Savarese as well, wasn't it? Giovanni Savarese, bit of a older one back in the lower leagues. He was quality.
And Dennis Lawrence, if we can class the Americas, Caribbean, was he Trinidad and Tobago?
Good shout.
World Cup against England, didn't he?
Okay. Well,
I tell you who it's not is the American owners.
Yeah, we won't say any more on that one. AI said Bob Bradley, and it also said Cameron Toshak, and it goes on to say, son of the legendary Swansea figure John Toshak, he worked within the US youth systems as the biggest influence of American culture on Swansea City. Just goes to show, folks, don't trust everything. Don't write your essays using AI. Right, I'm glad that Swansea Intelligence won out over artificial ones anyway in this instance. All right, good to see you folks. 2 weeks off for you. Do you think this break's come at a good time for Swansea, Hugh?
Not really. I mean, yesterday's result aside, I think we were starting to pick up some momentum. We're playing well. So I'd say no, probably not. But I like going to watch Wales play, so I'm happy anyway.
All right, good stuff. Leeds when we come back as well. Leeds at home. Their away form is pretty dire, so this could be a nice home win. We're all neutrals are hoping. So anyway, we'll talk about that, of course, when we see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget that subscribe button. Press it. You want to, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.